buy a new system, or you want to buy a new system, and what you want to use it for is probably your daily work, not necessarily IM, just simple Excel, Word, Chrome, and so on and so forth. But you don't know which one to buy or what to look out for when you want to buy a system. I need to be able to explain to you why you should go for either this one, or this one, or this one, or what you should look out for. For example, if I say you should look out for maybe 40 gram or 60 gram, someone will be wondering what gram is. But if I tell you that because of what you want to do, you need a system that can multitask. And for you to be able to multitask, you need the one that has a particular RAM, say 8 gram. You'll be able to open Chrome and have multiple tabs. You'll be able to open Excel, you'll be able to open Word, PowerPoint, and so on and so forth on the same system, and it will not lag. So if I put it to you like that, you will understand better than if I say, oh, because you want to do just business work, or you are a remote worker, all you need to buy is a laptop that has 80 grams, 60 grams, or 5.5 or 5.7. No, that is you will not even understand. You may not understand. But if I tell you, because you are going to multitask, and you also do so many other things, and so on and so forth, I say go for this one or something that has this particular suspicion. You understand? That's where research comes from. And then we go to the visual. That is what you see online: recording, editing, sound, and so on and so forth. But behind closed doors, some of the things that you don't see is arguments, debates between myself and the team. Which hook is better? How can I grab the attention in the first 5 seconds of them viewing the video? Is it scroll worthy? Is it something that you will watch and not scroll past immediately? And so on and so forth. For example, I completed a 30-day challenge for the title is very second. Thank you for watching. The title is very second, and in the video, what I did is I dropped a video every day for 30 days. And I recorded those videos in very weird locations. But the idea behind that content, each day's content, is that for everywhere I record, the content I am dropping or the tip I'm giving you has something to do with that particular place. If I'm with the water, I'm telling you something about something that has to do with the water that you think about. You don't have to think too deep to know. There was one I hung on to a dumpster truck, and I gave tips about habits that you should dump in 2025. Another one, I was on the water tank phone, and I talked about looking for network. You know, having to raise your phone and walk around just to look for network, and so many others. So many things. So those are the process. That's the process behind the concentration and how we make it less worrying.
Thank you so much. I believe that you learned something. Basically making the things that seem too techy or the things that seem too deep, make them relatable. You don't have to be always like uptight. So thank you very much. My next question is to Omolola. Hi. So we know that you run Awani Digitals, and it means that you've seen a lot more than content creators generally would see. You've seen behind the scenes side of marketing, success. You've seen, I know that, so you work with other brands and organizations to help their marketing, right? So can you share a campaign where the unseen work make all the difference? Like a campaign that you have run and the work that goes on behind the scene actually does all the work that people see out there.
Okay, good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm so excited to be here, and thank you Oladejo for putting this together. Behind the scene work. Okay, I'm going to share a campaign, and we ran the campaign twice. So I'm going to share the one that worked and the one that did not work. So starting with the one that did not work. We work with a rice producing company in Kano State, in Nigeria, right? And we wanted to build awareness for this brand. You know how when people want to buy rice, they most likely tend to buy imported rice. I mean, you can't want to go and buy a bag of rice now, you're looking for Nigerian-made rice, right? You probably want to buy imported rice. But we wanted to change the narrative. We wanted to say, okay, you know what? Buying Nigerian-made rice makes it all better. And for us, I thought the best way to go about it was to do a campaign that says, oh, what was the thing we even said? Okay, it was to tell people to cook rice, right? Or no, not cook rice necessarily, just share a story about rice. So, about like their rice traditions, basically. So, Christmas, you cook rice, like what rice means to you as traditions, right? And we were going to have 3 winners win bags of rice, right? So you would think that is a very great campaign and people would opt on it. Trust me, I think only 5 people entered for it. And I'm like, you know, rice. Right? And I was shocked. I kept postponing the date. Entry now ends on. You know when you already have the main date, you're not like, let's see.
Extended.
Yeah, and ran ads, did all of that. Still those 5 people, and guess what? Out of those 5 people, 2 of them are workers of the brand, right? And I'm like, then we had 3 winners. For me, it felt like we gave them free rice, right? Yeah. In fact, one of them came to say, oh, I should have been the first. And I'm like, out of how many please? And then we had to send them 50 kg bags of rice, right? And for me, I did not feel sorry, even though on the other end, they just felt like it was okay. I did not feel fulfilled. And it made me go back to the drawing board to say, okay, what then can we do to really put this brand out there? And that led us to do some deep research work, right? So I had to do a lot of, and that's why I not recently, about a month ago, I put out a video talking about how when we want to build strategies for clients, we should no longer assume that we know the audiences, right? And start with data research first, right? So what we did was to go back to the driver to say, you know what, we are going to ask you directly for what you want, right? Instead of asking. So when we are doing like your audience segmentation and all of that, where you say, okay, our audience is between the ages of 18 to these are their likes, these are their dislikes, you know, the psychographic and demographic analysis, right? Like we will normally do. We've moved from that. So now even before we start working with any brand, we do the research, we do deep work, we go to ask these people, what exactly do you want? Instead of assuming to say, oh, okay, because it's a co-working space, that means people that like this place are freelancers. I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, you just know from the top of your head that.
Instead of assuming.
Yes. While that is also great, because of course, you should already know who you are speaking to. But I would like to say that you should also ask them. Because you find out that, I know about these people, why is this thing not working, right? So that's what we did. Went back to the drawing board, asked the audience questions, came up with polls, came up with surveys, came up with quizzes, and all of that. And that led us to asking questions like, what will make you buy a Nigerian-made rice? Or what will make you fall in love with a Nigerian-made rice? Or what will make you follow a brand that makes rice in Nigeria? And then we started to see things like, if they show their workers, if the CEO shows up on the page, if they collaborate with influencers, right? So I'm like, that means there's nobody who said give away that we should give them rice. To be honest, nobody asked us to give them rice. And then we now created another campaign that was CEO-led. So what the CEO did was to basically give updates. Oh yes, they also mentioned impact. So people also like brands that are impact driven. So beyond what you sell, beyond the services that you offer, what does your brand stand for? what impact can your brand make, right? So for example, a brand like iFitness can come to me and say, you know what, we are collaborating with some nutritionists to help people plan their meals, or something that just changes the narrative and makes people see that we are not all about the profit, right? So what we then did, before we even ran the CEO-led campaign, we also make sure that we do some underground work to make sure that by the time we run this campaign, people can then see the things that they asked to see. So we started to do women empowerment because it feels like in the field of agriculture, there are more men than women. So we are like, you know what? We want this brand to change the narrative. How can we include women to be part of farming, agriculture, generally, more women, right? And then they started this empowerment program where they just go out there to look for people, right, that are interested in learning how to farm. They train them for 6 months, and maybe like the top people then get employed full-time in the organization. So imagine that because we wanted to do a campaign, we had to wait for like 6 months. So can you see, this is like behind the scene work. So I'm like, hi guys, this is, and that's also why it's great to work with clients that can understand you and see the value that you're trying to give them as well. And I'm like, guys, you know what, we need to do this thing, and that's how we started doing it. And funny enough, even beyond the campaign, it led to them getting grants from international organizations, right? Just that women empowerment program, because nobody has ever done it. And right now, as I speak, there is no there's no Nigerian rice brand that is topping the charts apart from this brand. And we've been working with them for 2 years now, right? So even across socials, they are still the leading Nigerian rice brand, right? And look at all the work that we had to do. So from doing the women empowerment program, we also made sure that they showed empowered the women. They had like weekly trade, pushing that out on the page. Then as regards influencers, we started to engage some influencers, some brand ambassadors. We sent them the rice. They started cooking the teeth, collaborating with the page, and all of that. So by the time the CEO wanted to do this campaign, it was easy. So what we did was to make him list all of the things that the brand has been doing, right? And you know where it's one video, but it tells a story. So we started from here, we've done this, we talked about how their staff go on the retreat, talk about, they actually also organize an event too. So we talked about how they organize their first annual general meeting, how they empower women, and you know, all of those beautiful things. So we just collaborated that into one content, and without even promoting it or running ads, it did well organically. And by the time we promoted it, I think we just put small money. We didn't even put up to the money that we did for the giveaway one. So this one, there was no giveaway, there was nothing, right? We just ran the ad like that. I think we put maybe 50,000, and we got like 3,000 followers on one video, right? So when it did well like that, we just kept running the ad. We just kept running the ad, and in that period, we got almost 7K followers from that video, right? So that's, now look at the journey I've taken us through. How many people are willing to do that work? How many people are willing to be that patient, right? So yeah, I hope that
organization balance everything.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
For this musical event, and also to celebrate my bosses in the panel, creating content.
Yeah.
Exactly, because we solely relied on the Holy Spirit. Now, back to the corporate world. The corporate world is a different world entirely, because Holy Spirit is a nature, but there are also other factors you need to factor in. So beyond your expressive ideas, there is an APCON to vet whatever you are doing. There is CBN to tell you that you can't push this. CBN to tell you that you can't push this idea because it's against our policy. And what they want and what doesn't work. Carefully plan your content and a lot of money. I don't know what happened to the person, no, but if the person didn't get suspended, that means I don't know anything. It's cut free. Nobody will look at that. Nothing can happen. But for a brand, you need to understand the ecosystem of the brand. And beyond that, you also need to look at what your competitors are doing beyond Nigeria. Check out for Africa, check out for USA, check out for UK. This will give you a wider scope on how you can bring up ideas, on how you can execute safely. Because in the church side of it, there is no restriction to creativity. Anybody can come up with something and we are good to go. But in the banking system, you do something nice, you get flagged, you get fired instantly. So you have to understand those terrain. I think that is all for me.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. All right, I'll go back to the technical. All right, you've collaborated with big brands. I'm talking Oraimo, I'm talking Jumia, big brands. And how do you do it such that you create the kind of content they want and that still shows your authentic side as a creator, right? So the kind of content that will align with the brand, like he said, and the kind of content that your audience would resonate with at the same time.
Thank you very much. Number one, which is the most important factor for me, I will only say yes to a brand if it fits my brand. If it doesn't fit what I stand for as a person or as a brand, then no, I don't even consider it. Because the first thing is, if what you are bringing to me for me to promote doesn't fit what I stand for, I don't get the amount of money you want to pay me. It's not going to do anything.
So work.
And then number two, my audience also comes first. If you come to me and you want to promote something and I agree, everything I do with respect to that particular assignment, I put my audience as number one. Now, if you say you want it this way, you want it that way, and I know the kind of audience I have, if I can advise you and tell you this is what is best for my audience, if you can't take it, I'm sure you don't.
It's not about the money.
Honestly, because most of the time you give me the money and then you do the job and then you don't get the result I would want. And then you will not come back. But you will not want to believe that what I told you before about my audience wanting a particular style of content was the reason why you did not get the result. You will not believe. So if you cannot agree to the fact that this is the direction that my audience likes to go, this is the direction that they want, this is what they like to see. Another thing I consider is, sorry, I made
Right.
originality. A lot of brands are allowed to reject quite a number of things. This is not bragging, but most brands usually have a way that they want you to put out that content. They are usually very, very strict and tight. In fact, when they send the proposals to you and the terms and conditions, they usually state it there. And one thing I love is creative freedom. If you cannot allow me to be free with how I want to drop this, in fact, okay, let me cite an example. The last brand I worked with was Junior. And we gave them the script how we wanted to execute it. And they sent a lot of corrections. At the end of the day, we ended up shooting 2 videos. Guess which one we went for? Because you want your song, I don't know, some brand. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bash anybody, but irrespective of your end result, you also have your customers, that's the brand in mind, right? And you, outside of your customers, you want to make money. And the only way you can make money is if the person that you are promoting that content to loves it and comes to you.
Yeah.
Of course, understand the person that you are giving the job to. If they tell you, the audience will like this thing, you believe it. So why are you now arguing? We sent the script, they corrected and corrected. So okay, no problem. So we shot their own idea, and then we shot my idea. At the end of the day, my idea failed because theirs was not relatable. You have to consider relatability and originality. Those things are very, very important. Because if you are I've seen so many videos that from the first 5-6 seconds I already know it is sponsored. But there are so many other videos that I see on the internet and I will not know that a brand sponsoring until I get to the end.
Yeah.
That is what promotion ads should be like. I don't have to know that this person, you pay this person to do this job. In fact, I shouldn't even have to know at all. If I get to know probably at the end of the video or something.
Or because you're also.
Or because I mentioned it. That is what working with brands should be like. So creative freedom, originality, yes to if it fits your content, your brand, and the audience comes first.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Alright, yes, Omolola. So you've helped over 100 people start marketing careers. Am I correct? Or are they more than that? Yeah. So what are the key skills that you think creators need that goes beyond just posting content? When it comes to marketing, what are the key skills that you think that creators need? Creators need here.
Okay, I'll start with strategic thinking. Right. Beyond just posting or working with clients and all of that, how can you understand why you're doing what you're doing?
Sorry.
How can you understand why you're doing what you're doing? Right? Everything or every post that you make has to be tied to a larger purpose or a larger goal. So before anything goes out there is always the question of what goal is this tied to? Right? Because you find out that a lot of people just push out things without necessarily tying it to the goals of the brand. Right? So if this brand wants to build awareness, what am I pushing? If this brand needs just engagement, what do I push out? If this brand needs leads, needs conversions, what do I push out? And if it's brand loyalty too, because of course some brands have attained that conversion, so they are looking for how to then retain their customers. So what kind of content can you put out at that stage? So strategic thinking is very important. And I'd also say adaptability, because a lot of us are rigid, and because I've worked with multiple people, yes, multiple people, and it's an issue for me because when I want to hire, I see how a lot of people are still rigid in what they know, what they knew in 2018, right? These platforms evolve. The creator economy is evolving, right? Everything is evolving. So don't be stuck in what you know. Always look forward to improving your skills, improving yourself over time. Currently, I'm trying to hire like 2 people, and it's an issue for me because I keep seeing the same thing over and over again. And just yesterday, I think I put it up on WhatsApp that I'm tired, I have a lot of work to do. And somebody said, why don't you delegate? I'm like, it's one thing to delegate. It's another thing to know who to delegate to, or actually have people that know what they are doing, because there are times where you delegate and you end up doing that thing by yourself, like starting all over again, right? So how can you adapt to what's happening right now? I remember recommending someone to a friend, and I found out that all that she was doing for the friend were things that happened in 2020. I'm like, this is 5 years after. You've not grown up. You've not added new skills. If for example, you're a social media manager, you can't remain at that. You can't remain at just posting. Do you know how to run ads? Can you edit videos? Right? How can you interpret data? Do you understand data analysis and all of those things? Do you understand marketing research? Right? Those are the things you also need to look at beyond just posting. And that's why a lot of people now, they are not even looking for just social media managers anymore. Can you do strategy? how fast are you with keeping up to date with trends, right? Another thing for me would then be storytelling, right? Would then be storytelling. Storytelling is like, there's no competition when it comes to storytelling. And what do I mean? Nobody has the same story as you, or nobody has the same story as that brand. So why not tell your stories in your own unique way, right? That's one of the, it's a very great skill to have, either for your personal content, for a client, or for a brand's content. Storytelling is always key. Look at the example I gave earlier around how we had to make the CEO take people on a journey and tell stories of the brand and all that they have done, right? Which led to the growth that we wanted to see and people also buying the product, right? So storytelling is key. How can you connect with your audience emotionally while also delivering value to them, right? You need to know that. Okay. I'll also say collaboration skills, right? How well are you able to collaborate with other people, either on the team or as a creative? So for example, you want to go as a creator, how well can you collaborate with other creatives? If you have something, what's the other thing that another creative has that can be like a compliment, right? So that when you push it out, you grow and they also grow, right? We can't grow in isolation. We have to grow together, right? And if it's on the client's end of things too, how well are you able to collaborate with other people on the team, the videographers, influencers, and all of those things, right? I think that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Strategy, adaptability, storytelling, and last question before we have one advice for each of you. Creative, you're leading creative teams. What are you seeing your creative make?
Okay. Sorry, you permit me to rephrase your question.
Okay, that's fine.
I really don't see the stakes of people. I really see the
Okay.
growth of people and potentials.
Thank
So
you.
you might want to tell me that what are the
Areas,
yes, that
need
they need to
growth,
improve on,
yeah.
yes. He said, Junior, they are coming for you. Me too, I'm praying, oh, Junior, please come for me. Why? Because he has built value around him. And what is happening? He's like a magnet. And he keeps coming. Do you know what? He said something that I turned to a prayer point. He said, I pick the people I work with. Yeah. Some of us. It's just going to be money. What depends? What do you want me to do? You want me to dance for you? He has gotten to a level where he can separate need from want. Do you understand? And that is where we creative, young creative, we should aim at. Build yourself to a level. I was just a creative director in my office, and they said, you that you will be the head of brands and marketing. Why? Because they saw that this boy can do it. I'm the youngest among the executives, but value. So please, you are not too young to make millions. You are not too young to buy a 2020. Don't say you are buying 2008 car. God can bless you to a level where you will be a source of blessing. Yes. And please note that it's not going to happen later. It's going to happen when?
Now.
Thank you.
I mean, he had to stand up because, he has to enter. All right, I'll start from Omolola. Just give us a final word of advice.
I would say the results we want to see as individuals, and this speaks to our personal growth or our growth avoiding, right? The results you want to see is in the work that you're avoiding. So maybe, why not just go offline for a while? I feel like social media has created this impression where you feel like you're just good, right? Just seeing things. But when you go offline, you see that a lot of work needs to be done internally as a person, right? What's the theme again? Beyond the feed in
real life.
Exactly. So some of us need to go offline, right? Just go offline first for a while and interact with the real world. Then you'll be able to see some of.
I would say be original. In whatever it is you are doing, your originality should not diminish. Be the one to dictate. Like you said, don't let them tell you do it this way. If your way is what you know how to do best, and that is what has been helping you, don't forget, see that originality. It will take you far. Originality. That's the best advice that I have gotten and that has helped me so far. Originality. My best content till date, 2.9 million views, was from drama. Stood by the roadside, somebody snatched my phone and he ran. It was an act. And I gave the tip about how not to lose your files or information when your phone gets stolen. I didn't sit in front of camera.
No setup.
It was just by the roadside. Almost like a skit, but it wasn't a skit. And after that drama, I moved past it and then I started sitting in front of camera, doing the regular tech content creation. If your phone gets hot, you sit in front of the camera, set up the camera and do it. I have not gotten as much views as I got then. But then I did the 30 days challenge and I saw improvements and I saw that much more than what everybody else is doing. If you know what you know how to do best and you stick to it, you will go far.
Thank you so much. All right, let's hear from you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you once again for the opportunity. For me, I would advise every one of us that you put God first. Never leave God out of your life, not even for a minute. The second one is in line with what you said about originality. Believe in yourself. Never doubt who you are and what you will become. Because it's essence for your arriving. I don't know if I'm right. You don't shine when you're supposed to be learning. Right? So you separate that time where people will now start watching you. TikTok is actually fun, and I'm sorry, I do it a lot too. But when it comes to your work, when it comes to your life, take your life very, very serious. See, Nobody will come for you. It is you and the world, maybe with God, if you truly go with God. It is you against the world. And the interesting thing about the world is the world rewards those that are consistent. So you have to be consistent in learning. You have to be consistent in improving in yourself daily. Remember what I said? Make sure you are better than yesterday. Let that word ring in your head as soon as you wake up in the morning. And lastly, your character. You can be the best with the worst. Is a crazy combination. So while you are growing, make sure you grow your character. See, some people are destined to destroy you. You won't know. Then you are growing, and somebody will come and offend you, and they say, this person used to get angry. No, we can't use this person as what we want, what the plan we have for the person. Why? Because you've not built your character to a level where you don't realize that patience is better than whatever catastrophe you can think you want to cause. So please, I beg you, while you are growing, your character is very, very key in your becoming. Do you know the interesting thing? You might not even have the capacity, but because you have the character, they will still give it to you. So please, your character is key to becoming. You've seen some people now, they will appear and you'll be like, is this person? This is the person. You doubt. Why? Because you even see yourself that you do better than this person. It is not his strength that got him there. It might be his character. It might be something that he did, and I will share this story and I will end this conversation. My ED was sharing with me yesterday, executive director of the bank was sharing with me yesterday. He said there was an issue at the bank at that time when he was reporting to somebody, and he made a mistake in the annual report, and the MD fired the secretary, and he realized it was his fault, and he went to the MD to tell the MD that, sir, it wasn't I was the one. And the MD immediately suspended him at that period. Fast forward to 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, they had a meeting where all the executive was there. And the MD said he has never seen a man like my ED before, that he is truly a Christian. And since then, my ED now became the MD's right-hand man. And now, that man I'm talking about now, he's a young man, but he's an executive director of a bank because of that singular act of character. So please, character is key. Thank you.
Very important. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you gain value, can you please clap again? I really enjoyed this session. And we're going to have a break after now. But before then, I'd like to call Bolaji Billions, to come take pictures with them. Let's just take pictures together. All right. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, please, we would have a 5 minutes break. Take your time. Don't take your time too much. If you need to use the restroom, if you need to talk to somebody, please, panelists have to leave. That's why we're not taking extra questions, right? You can ask Bolaji your questions. She's definitely going to answer you. So please, we'll be back by 1:11, right? Have fun. Over there, the black door over there. Thank you.